What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, and today the talk of the NFL is that big blockbuster Tyreek Hill trade that the Kansas City Chiefs just made with the Miami Dolphins. What a deal that was, and what does that mean for the Chiefs and their potential in the cornerback market with the New York Giants and James Bradberry? That's what we're going to discuss today. I'm really excited to dive into it. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoy this discussion. And of course, comment down in the comment section below on YouTube what you think about this potential trade and whether or not you want to see the Giants trade James Bradberry to the Chiefs for a potential mid-round pick. Now, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs just traded Tyreek Hill, and that's big for them because I think before the trade, they sat with around $8 million in cap space. They're kind of strapped for cap and didn't really have much movement to make in terms of building their roster out. But this trade is set to free up, I believe, $20.435 million in cap space. So now they have $28 million to spend in free agency or through their draft picks in the 2022 NFL draft. And now they actually hold 12 total draft picks in the 2022 NFL draft. So the Chiefs are at a position where they can sign pretty much whoever they want. And they also have the draft capital to trade for any of the remaining veterans on the market, one of them being James Bradberry. Now, the Chiefs gained an extra 2022 first-round pick from the Dolphins, a second-round pick, which is number 50 overall, and they got a fourth-round pick, which is number 125 overall from the Miami Dolphins in this year's upcoming draft. Of course, they also got fourth and sixth-round picks in next year's draft. An absolute haul from the Kansas City Chiefs, rightfully so. Tyreek Hill, arguably top 3 wide receiver in the NFL, and they really got a lot in return for trading him. So good for the Miami Dolphins. That offense should be pretty crazy too if he takes that next step. Throwing to Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill should be pretty awesome. But let's take a look now at what this means for the New York Giants and how they could capitalize on this deal by trading James Bradberry to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Jeremy Fowler of ESPN had a lot of great info in his weekly roundup of rumors across the league. So he had rumors about the Kansas City Chiefs and the New York Giants, and those two rumors were also connecting in that regard. So according to Jeremy Fowler, after this Tyreek Hill trade, the Chiefs are probably going to pivot towards finding a new cornerback to add to their roster. And apparently they've been looking for a few veterans, and James Bradberry is one of the players that they are interested in. So this is what Jeremy Fowler had to say. Watch for Kansas City to potentially move on a veteran corner in the coming weeks. Two names I've heard in connection to the Chiefs when asking around: free agent Stephon Gilmore and the Giants' James Bradberry, who is a trade or release candidate in New York. How hard Kansas City might pursue on those players is in question, but other teams predict Kansas City could be in the market for an experienced playmaking corner at a reasonable price. The AFC West passing attacks are loaded, and the Kansas City Chiefs need a third corner beside L'Jarius Sneed and Rashad Fenton. So that's huge. The Giants already are getting interest from the Kansas City Chiefs on James Bradberry. We know that the Giants have been looking to trade or release James Bradberry at some point, but here's what Jeremy Fowler had to say about the New York Giants rumors regarding James Bradberry. New York has made it clear that they are willing to hold onto the corner James Bradberry for a while, despite his $21 million cap hit. I was told that new GM Joe Schoen has considered keeping Bradberry well into the offseason because he is a good player and the Giants want a fair return for him, or they could keep him outright. Multiple teams have contacted New York to express interest in the playmaking corner. So, of course, James Bradberry is gathering interest from multiple teams across the league. Multiple teams have been calling the Giants and saying, hey, what's the price tag? Where's he at? We might be interested. Let's circle back around one day, right? So James Bradberry, a trade could be imminent at this point, but Jeremy Fowler also adds the Giants are very open to keeping James Bradberry for the 2022 season. Yes, his cap hit is huge, but the Giants are under the salary cap right now. They're not over the cap. They're not negative. I mean, they have barely any money to spend, but they do have enough to go into the 2022 season with the roster that they currently have constructed. So James Bradberry can be on the Giants in 2022, but we know in all likelihood he won't be. Cutting him or trading him before June 1st saves up $12 million. I think it's $12 million for the New York Giants in salary cap space. Yeah, the saving is $12,136,000 in total with a $9.7 million dead cap hit. So very likely, considering where the Giants are in terms of their cap space, that they will end up moving on from James Bradberry before the 2022 NFL draft. And I think it's really important to note that the drafted players have to get paid. All of those players come with built-in contracts, and the Giants freeing up $12 million from trading James Bradberry, that could potentially pay for a good portion of their draft class this year. Now, of course, they have 9 draft picks. There could be more if they do trade down or if they trade James Bradberry. But of course, getting a player in a traded player or traded draft pick for James Bradberry, you're going from a player that you're paying $21 million to maybe a 4th round pick that you're paying less than $1 million. So that's the real key difference here. What do the Giants gain from trading away one of the best players, arguably the best player defensively on their roster? Well, they gain a lot of draft capital. Or really what they really gain is a lot of cap space. They gain a lot of cap space, which gives them flexibility going into the 2022 NFL draft. Now, what could they probably get for James Bradberry? Well, I think a 4th round pick makes sense. And that's what Alex Wilson, my co-host, who is not with us today, he has pitched this idea on Twitter. A lot of Giants fans on Twitter seem to really like the idea. A 4th round pick from the Chiefs in exchange for James Bradberry. Now, if you take a look at what the Kansas City Chiefs have in terms of draft capital, 2 1st round picks, 2 2nd round picks, 2 3rd round picks, 2 4th round picks, and 4 7th round picks. So one of those 4th round picks that they have is actually acquired from the Miami Dolphins in this Tyreek Hill trade, pick 125, and then they hold their own pick 135 in the 4th round. So taking a look at that, I think that's really interesting for the Giants potentially, because if the Chiefs call up saying, hey, we want James Bradberry, and the Giants say, what's your offer? Can we get one of those 2 4th round picks? That might be enough to get the job done, right? A 4th round pick. The Chiefs then are getting a proven good cornerback, a good veteran to add to their roster, which we know they're interested in gaining, right? They want a good cornerback to solidify their secondary, but they're only giving up a 4th round pick. But they have to bring on a $12 million cap hit, right? And the Giants get rid of $12 million in cap hit. So I think that's a perfect marriage for those two teams. You know, the Giants are looking to trade James Bradberry. The Chiefs are interested in trading for James Bradberry. The Chiefs now have all the draft capital in the world. I think this makes a lot of sense for the New York Giants. I think this is something that they should definitely consider and try to make happen because, again, interest on both sides. Both teams are interested in making this kind of a deal. So I think that the Giants should absolutely go ahead and try to get that deal done, hopefully getting a 4th round pick in return for James Bradberry, as well as a $12 million in cap space that they would free up. Super important for the Giants. And of course, this is all the fallout of that huge Tyreek Hill trade. Now, I think one last thing to mention is that the Giants, this could be one of a couple of trades that they can make before the 2022 NFL draft, right? Keep an eye on Saquon Barkley. I think Jeremy Fowler's roundup of rumors last week, he talked to Dan Graziano, an insider, who said the Giants could potentially be moving on from Saquon Barkley as well. So a couple of big moves could be on the horizon for the New York Giants as we start to gear up towards the 2022 NFL draft. It's going to get really exciting. A lot of rumors, a lot of news is going to be continue to be covered on Fireside Giants right here. So make sure you subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell so you don't miss a video. Comment down below. Let me know what you think of this mock trade or any other potential mock trade that you want to see the Giants make. Make sure you like the video if you did enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one, and let's go Giants.